In this video I'm going to make a key rack and entryway organizer from this 150-year-old beam. I have some rough ideas. I'm going to laser engrave it to personalize it for my sister's entryway, and otherwise I'll just see what I can do with the material. It's a bit damaged on the back, so I have to cut it down a little, and I think it's going to be an awesome, interesting piece. If you're interested in seeing how I do that, come on in. Hi and welcome, I'm Andreas. If you're new to the channel, welcome, I'm glad you're here. And if you've been a subscriber for quite some time, welcome back, glad you're still here. I've been pausing for a while because I've been busy with life, work and other projects not suitable for YouTube, but the workshop's still here, I'm still here, and I'm still planning on putting out new videos in 2024. So let's get going to see how we can convert this old beam into something nice for my sister's entryway. I've been thinking about how to use this and how to turn it, and I've been talking to my sister and her husband, and I think we're going to use it this way. So this is going to be up and this tenon here will be on the upper right. I think there's going to be a shelf for smartphone charging around here, and then some hooks for keys up here. And that should free the space up here for some laser engraving of their family name. And of course the whole thing is much too thick and it is damaged here on the back. So the first step I think will be to use the bandsaw and to cut it thinner so that it doesn't protrude as much. And once I've done that, I can see how much of that is still left, and if I have to stabilize it, or if it works like that. This seems to be some damaged area from the house where this was used, an old Black Forest house, and it seems the wood got wet at some point. Here you can see a branch. That branch here is much harder, so it's stuck and wasn't eroded away as much as the rest of the wood, but that should all be sort of smooth mostly once I cut the whole thing on the bandsaw. So let's get going and do that. This is a little thinner on this side than on this one by 3 millimeters. Either I didn't push it quite evenly over the bandsaw or whatever happened. I'm still not as good at the bandsaw as I'd like to be, but well, I think this should be easily fixable. I'm going to saw it once again on the thickness of this side, 38 millimeters, and hopefully then it will be nice and even. Thickness is good now and even, but it still rocks a little bit here, which means it has a high spot here in the middle. If we look across here, we can see that it has a high spot here in the middle. So I'm going to use the electric hand planer and take that down a little bit so that it sits flat on the wall where it's later going to be mounted. Now, I'm thinking of making a shelf here on this side for about 3 smartphones to fit on. So my phone has about 7.5 centimeters, let's say 8. So 3 of them, which would be probably the max, would be 24. So if we say, maybe we could go all the way up here. To about 28, and we would be here, and then we could have 3 hooks here. if we need. I cut out these cardboard pieces which are about the size of the hooks that I ordered. I haven't got the hooks yet, but if I want 3 hooks, then 28 is about the max I can go. And I want to make the shelf from this offcut. It's from another piece of this beam which I cut off in a different situation. It's a bit uneven and also here, but I don't think that's a problem. On the contrary, it is supposed to be a rough piece from an old piece of wood, so I like that. All I have to do is clean this up a little bit, because since this whole thing rocked a little bit, it was hard to cut a clean cut on the table saw, but with a chisel and some sandpaper this will be all right. I had an even better idea than the chisel, because I've got a rabbet plane here, and that's of course the perfect tool for that kind of thing. So this is roughly how it's going to be. Now I have to cut it to length. A minute ago the hooks arrived, so I can test it with them, and I'm going to dry fit them on here. I think something like this doesn't look too bad, and then I should go a bit further out here to have a bit more distance here. And then I think I should go for 27. Cut it off here, but I like this knot here, so I'm going to cut a little bit off here so that that knot will not end up at the very end, but will be nicely placed some distance from the outer edge. It's not easy to mark on such a rough and dark piece of wood. So I'm using this yellow marker, but it's very soft, so it breaks easily. I think I'm going to use the router to cut this groove, but I have to find a way to securely attach this so that it doesn't move anywhere. So I forgot to film on the first go. The idea is this. This is my guide rail for the router, and since the surface here is very uneven, I will dip in and come out with the router, and I don't like that. So I put this piece of plywood on top. These two pieces are to keep it from moving, so this will even out my surface and give me a smooth surface to glide the router on. Then I will dip in, plunge in, and cut out the groove, not completely, the rest I will do with a chisel, and hope that this will get very straight so that this can now later get into there. lengthwise it fits now. It's just a little bit too thick yet. But that I'm going to take off with the plane. Fits well now. I don't want to push it in completely because I've given it a bit of a wedge shape, so the further I push it in, the tighter it's going to sit. And I want to get it out again to apply glue. That's good. Another one, another one. So, a couple of steps to do yet. Now this, I know that it works in principle, but before I glue it in, I have to design the personalization family Göppert that's going to be lasered into this area here. And because I can't put the whole beam under the laser once this piece is in, I have to do it before. So I'm thinking this area here. Now, I've designed a logo, but I thought of, one thing came to my mind that I hadn't thought of before. This tenon here is in the way because obviously the laser head cannot move past this point. So maybe I have to make it a little smaller so that the laser head will clear this area here where the tenon is. But we'll see. So this is the furthest it can go. Now I'm going to drill some holes because where this will end up on the wall, the charging cables for the phones will come from below, and so they will have to go through here, and yeah, then the cables will have to be put down through these holes here when these are mounted like this. And I got some dark wood stain to make these lighter areas a little darker so that they're not as dark in contrast to the rest of the wood surfaces. So the last step for today will be to stain these cutting edges here where the wood is a lot lighter, and these areas here where it is very, very light. And then I will let it dry overnight, and tomorrow I can finish the whole piece. So the stain has come out nicely, and I think the shade of brown matches very nicely the rest of the beam. I'm now going to glue in that little shelf and then give the whole thing a coat of wax. And once the wax has hardened, I can screw on the hooks, and then the whole thing's finished and ready for delivery. So here it is, it's finished. I really like how it turned out with the tenon sticking out here with this little shelf, which is useful and has holes here for the charging cables and little slits in which you can hook them once you don't use them. And at the same time, from the front, it really looks nice and rustic with that knot here and the laser engraving. All in all, I'm really happy of how it turned out. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you see you back soon. See you then. Take care. Bye bye.